In the heart of a bustling Nairobi neighborhood where the vibrant colors of Kanga fabrics danced in the warm breeze, Sarah Mwangi found herself at a crossroads. A young woman with deep brown eyes and an innate kindness, she had always been the type to lend a hand to those in need. This instinct, however, would soon lead her down a path she could never have anticipated. One fateful evening, as the golden sunset painted the sky, Sarah encountered a stranger at the local bus stop. His name was Kofi, a tall man with an air of mystery, whose deep voice carried the weight of untold stories. Despite the slight weariness that flickered in her gut, Sarah invited him into her modest home, believing in the goodness of people. As they sat across from each other at her small wooden table, the aroma of ugali and sukuma wiki filled the air, wrapping them in a comforting embrace. Their conversations flowed effortlessly. Yet beneath the surface, Sarah sensed an undercurrent of tension. Kofi's laughter sometimes felt forced, a mask for deeper sorrows. Each shared story unfurled a layer of his life, yet it was the silences that screamed the loudest, hinting at shadows that lingered just out of sight. Sarah's heart began to race as she caught herself pondering the question that gnawed at her. What secrets lay behind Kofi's enchanting smile? Was he merely a lost soul seeking refuge? Or did he carry the weight of something far more sinister? Their budding friendship began to blur the lines of trust, igniting a flicker of conflict within her. As she wrestled with her emotions, Sarah couldn't help but wonder. If she chose to ignore her instincts and delve deeper into Kofi's world, would she find the truth? Or would she become ensnared in a web of deception that could shatter her very existence? With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher and the shadows of Kofi's past loomed larger, threatening to engulf them both. On a cool evening in autumn, Sarah opened her door and found a stranger standing on her porch. The fading light painted everything in soft shadows, while the wind whispered through the trees, creating a feeling thick with mystery. The man looked tired, his clothes tattered and his eyes searching, as if he carried stories of his own. Sarah felt a flutter of uncertainty in her heart. Would he be a danger, or could he be a friend in the quiet village life she knew? She paused, weighing her choices like a woman balancing a basket on her head. The stranger shifted his weight, his gaze calm but firm. Fear and curiosity danced in her chest, like children playing around a fire. Why was he here? He gave a small smile, as if he could sense her worry. It was a fragile moment, filled with a mixture of kindness and caution, like a dance where each step mattered. "Good evening," Sarah finally said, her voice softer than the rustling leaves. "What brings you here?" "Good evening," he replied, his voice warm like the sun after a rain. "I have traveled far, seeking shelter and perhaps a kind word." Sarah felt her heart soften. Sometimes, unexpected friendships could blossom in the most ordinary places. "Come in," she invited, stepping aside. "You are welcome here." As he stepped inside, the warm air wrapped around them like a comforting shawl. They began to talk, sharing stories that felt like threads woven together by fate. "I left my village in search of new paths," he shared, his voice steady. "And you? What stories does your heart hold?" "I dream of a life filled with adventure," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling like stars in the night sky. "But sometimes I feel lost in the routine." As they shared tales under the soft glow of the lantern, her fears began to fade like shadows in the morning light. There was something special in their connection, something that felt like a shared journey. In that chilly autumn moment, Sarah realized the magic of first encounters. They could open doors to new beginnings, leading her down a path she had never imagined. Little did she know, this meeting would weave new stories into the fabric of her life, stories that would echo in her heart for years to come. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the evening, Sarah found herself wrapped in a blanket of familiarity with a stranger seated across from her. Their laughter mingled in the air, much like the sweet aroma of roasted yams from the nearby market. Yet, beneath this cozy atmosphere, an invisible thread of unspoken truths tugged at her heart. "Tell me, stranger," Sarah said, her voice light but curious, "what brings you to my corner of the world?" The stranger smiled, his eyes twinkling like stars in the night sky, yet there was a shadow that flickered just behind that smile. "My journey is long," filled with tales of wonder and woe. He replied, his tone smooth, like the gentle flow of a river. But Sarah felt a weight in his words. It was as if he was sharing a piece of himself while hiding the rest. With every story he told, it felt like they were weaving a tapestry of connection, each thread rich with color and meaning. Yet deep within her, a voice whispered caution. Why had he come to her doorstep? And what secrets lay behind those kind eyes? The stories he shared were like the fables told by the elders around the fire, captivating, yet layered with hidden lessons. As the night deepened, the air thickened with questions. You speak of journeys and dreams, Sarah said, her brow furrowed. But what lies beneath your charming words? Is there a truth you're holding back? The stranger paused, his gaze drifting to the stars above, as if searching for answers in their glow. Sometimes, the heart carries burdens it cannot share, he said softly. In that moment, Sarah felt the weight of his words, a mix of empathy and unease swirling within her. With every sip of her drink, she wrestled with trust and doubt, like a dance between the moon and the tides. The warmth of their connection brushed against her skin, yet the cool breeze of uncertainty whispered in her ear. She longed to peel back the layers of mystery, to see if this chance meeting could blossom into something beautiful, or if it was a path leading to trouble. Sometimes, Sarah continued, her voice steady, the truth can change everything. I must know where your heart truly lies. The stranger turned to her, his expression a blend of admiration and caution. And sometimes, dear Sarah, the journey to the truth is the most perilous of all. In that moment, she understood that stories, like the river, could twist and turn unexpectedly. The night was still young, yet the shadows danced with secrets that might reveal themselves in time. A spark of doubt flickered in Sarah's heart as she watched the stranger's face, searching for hints of trickery. The way he shifted his feet and looked away reminded her of stories her grandmother used to tell about cunning foxes in the bush, always ready to deceive. Each small movement felt like a hidden piece of a story she couldn't quite piece together. His smile seemed stretched, too wide, like a painted mask, and the way his eyes darted to the door made her belly twist with worry. Tell me about your journey, she asked, hoping to glimpse the truth. He hesitated, his hands playing nervously with the edge of his shirt. Oh, it's just a simple tale, he replied. But Sarah noticed the way his voice trembled, like a leaf in the wind. As he spoke of his past, gaps appeared in his tale, like holes in a worn-out basket. Sarah felt an uneasy knot in her chest. Why do you look away when you speak of your family? She inquired, sensing the shadows in his words. He stiffened, his smile fading. It's nothing, really. Just memories best left behind, he said, his tone defensive, as if guarding a treasure he didn't want to share. Sarah remembered the wisdom of her people, who always said to trust one's heart. The air around them felt thick, like waiting for rain during a dry spell. Every smile he gave felt like a curtain, hiding the truth behind layers of charm and stories half told. Are you sure there's nothing you want to share? She pressed, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her chest. He looked at her, and for a moment, she thought she saw something real beneath his mask. Yet, that something quickly vanished, replaced by a guarded look. I promise, it's all good, he replied, but the warmth in his eyes felt distant, like a fire that had burned too low. Tension hung between them like a spider's web, fragile yet strong. Sarah's instincts whispered to her, urging her to listen closely to the unsung tales in the air. The signs were there, woven into the fabric of his movements and words, telling her to be cautious and to trust the wisdom of her ancestors. What happens when trust is broken? For many, it feels like a heavy stone sitting in their hearts, making it hard to breathe, just like a young woman who welcomed a stranger into her life. Little did she know, she was opening the door to heartbreak. This misplaced trust turned into a wound that would sting for a long time. She found herself wrestling with deep fears, making it hard to connect with others again. Every new face reminded her of the pain she had faced, causing her to wonder, is this person like the last? Will they betray me too? Each sunrise felt heavier, as memories of joy spent with that stranger turned into shadows of deceit. She would often murmur to herself, why did I let them in? Her heart would race, and her mind would fill with worry, always glancing around as if danger hid just behind the next corner. waiting to strike again. Her friends and family noticed the change in her. They would say, "You seem distant, sister. What troubles you?" But she could only smile weakly, hiding her scars. "It's nothing," she would reply. But they could see the walls she had built around herself, walls that kept love and laughter at bay. In the villages, elders tell stories of trust and betrayal, reminding us that a good heart can sometimes attract harmful spirits. They say, when trust is given, it is like planting a seed. If tended with care, it blossoms into a beautiful tree. But what happens when that tree is uprooted? The scars of betrayal can linger, making it hard to trust again. In her heart, she longed to break free from this cycle of doubt. With each passing day, she whispered to the wind, "Teach me to trust again," hoping that the spirits of her ancestors would guide her back to the warmth of connection. She knew deep down that not everyone was a thief in the night, but the fear still clung to her like a shadow. As she walked through life, she held on to the hope that one day she would find the courage to embrace trust once more, knowing that every wound carries a lesson, and every lesson leads to healing. Once upon a time in a vibrant village, where laughter danced in the air and stories flowed like the river, a woman named Amina opened her heart to a stranger. She thought this new friendship would bring joy, but she soon learned that trust is like the delicate thread of a spider's web, beautiful, yet easily torn. One day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the land, Amina sat beneath the old baobab tree, pondering her lessons. "Ah, my friend," she whispered to the rustling leaves, "trust is not given lightly. It must grow like the roots of our mighty trees, strong and deep." The stranger, with their charming smile, had seemed harmless, but Amina realized that sometimes what shines on the surface can hide shadows beneath. Her wise grandmother often said, "Amina, always protect your heart like a precious seed in the ground." Remembering this, Amina understood that setting boundaries is not just for safety, it's a way to honor oneself. "I must not let my guard down," she told herself. The presence of the stranger reminded her of the importance of knowing where to draw the line. Vulnerability, she learned, could invite trouble if not guarded well. As the days passed, fear whispered in her ear, but Amina held onto hope like a flickering flame in the night. "I will not be broken," she declared quietly to the stars. This experience, though challenging, became a powerful teacher. Amina learned that it's okay to prioritize her own heart, to be discerning in whom she allows into her life. With each lesson learned, Amina grew stronger, like a lioness protecting her cubs. "The stranger has shown me the power of resilience," she spoke to the village children gathered around her, eager for a story. "Trust and boundaries go hand in hand, like the sun and the moon. We must cherish our hearts and be wise in our choices." In the end, the stranger's visit became a turning point for Amina. It ignited a fire within her, revealing the strength that comes from understanding oneself and the importance of guarding one's heart. With newfound wisdom, she continued her journey, ready to face the world, knowing that every encounter teaches us something valuable. And in the warm embrace of her community, Amina found the courage to love and trust again. But this time, with the wisdom of a seasoned traveler. As Sarah reflected on her encounter with the stranger, she realized that trust, while crucial, often comes with risks. The warmth of their connection had been overshadowed by the shadows of unspoken truths, reminding her that people can hide their pain behind a mask. Though she hoped for understanding, she learned that caution is essential when steering through the fragile landscape of human relationships, where every smile might conceal a deeper story, urging her to tread carefully in the future.